Welcome to Biosergen, and welcome to Peder Andersen, CEO, and Niels Laursen, CFO of the super interesting biotech company, Biosergen. And Peder, first, for those in the audience who are not that up to date about what you do and how far you are, can you give me a brief introduction to Biosergen?
Of course, I'll be happy to. Biosergen is basically started as a spin-out from the Technical University in Trondheim, where some groundbreaking new developments on genetic modification of products, old molecules, was paving the way for what we have today. So we have developed a product called BSG005, which is a polyene macrolide antifungal drug, and which we have developed over the years and have also recently put into and through phase 1 trials. That's very basic what it is. And what we're looking at is invasive fungal infections. And I just need to tell you that invasive fungal infections is a bad thing for a patient. The mortality is very high. It's basically between 20 and up to 80–90%. Depending on the fungal strain and also where you are in the world, what treatment you have available, etc. So it's a serious thing we're dealing with, and it's a high medical need, as also seen by the WHO several times this year. So that's what we do. We develop this drug, BSG005, for this indication.
So maybe if we just elaborate shortly about, you say it's a high medical need, and you also say that there are already existing products out there in the market. So what's the difference between what you're doing and why is there a high medical need for it when you can actually get treatment?
Well, there are several classes of drugs. Basically, we have 3 classes that we think about when we are in this area of fungal infections. And one is the azoles, another one is echinocandins, and then the group that we belong to, which is the polyene macrolide class. Both the echinocandins and the azoles are what we call only inhibiting the growth. So they are not killing the fungal. What we do in the polyene macrolide class of drugs is we kill the fungus. And that's why it's a unique group of medicines. And they are always used also as last resort. When everything else is not working, this is what you put on them. Put on them polyene macrolide, which we know will kill the fungus. And the big difference from the existing drugs on the market in this class and our product is that we have a very safe molecule compared to what we see from the other very highly used and widely used polyene macrolide called amphotericin B. That product has for many years, even in their newer models, which is like a lipid formulated molecule, they still have some serious issues around kidney toxicity and other kinds of toxicity, but that is the main one. And what we have seen both in our preclinical, our toxicology, and now in our phase 1 is we don't have it. We don't have any impact on kidney function, or for that matter in the phase 1 trial in humans, liver function. So we're doing very well, and we have a distinct advantage compared to the older products of this group.
Okay, thank you. So as you said, you have successfully finished your phase 1 trials. So what is going to happen now?
Well, the phase 1 was actually testing both a single dose and a multiple dose, etc. And in both instances, we had no impact on the kidneys. And that's very important. And that brings us to the next point, which is phase 2. So it's the next step in the clinical development. And this is where it really starts to be exciting, because these patients we're now going to work with or treat is patients who are having an invasive fungal infection. It depends a little bit on what strain of fungus it is, but those that we're looking at have the, what should we say, problem that they are difficult to treat, they are relatively rare, and most of the other products do not work on them. The only product so far that we know is working on all of these are amphotericin B / their lipid formulation ambisome. And that's what we are going into and investigate patients who have been treated with ambisome or amphotericin B because they have an existing invasive fungal infection. And that can be mucormycosis, it can be aspergillus, it can be candida, and different other ones. But it's always patients who have been taken off the treatment with amphotericin B because of toxicity or because it doesn't work. We know there are fungal strains out there that are resistant also to amphotericin B. And that's where we come in, because we don't hit the kidneys. We hopefully do not do anything on the liver as well. We don't do anything on the laboratory parameters that are important for patients as well. But we look at those that has been taken off treatment with amphotericin B due to these toxicities or lack of effect. And then we come in and treat the patient for 14 days. And we do it in an escalating dose mode, so that we start at one dose, which is coming from our phase 1, and then we increase the dose as regular as possible. So as long as it's safe, we will look at it and we will see whether there is an effect. And we know it'll come at some point in time. We just need to find out when.
Super. So, obviously news from a biotech company are major share price triggers. So when can we expect to hear from you regarding the start of the trial, when the first patients, and when do you expect top line results?
Well, the plan we have right now is to run this trial in India, because they have so many patients of these particular types of invasive fungal infections, which is a very important aspect, because that means you can recruit quite a number of patients within a relatively short time. We expect that we can start recruiting and treating patients in October, and we expect that we will have a relatively short running period of about 5 to 6 months. So top line results will be there late March or very early April next year. This is a short trial. We treat them for 14 days and we follow them up until 32 days. And then we have the results. Do they survive? Do they have a good effect of the data of the drug? And are there any safety issues, etc., etc.? So it's a relatively short trial. And in this indication, you will have a result relatively quick. That's why we will have these patients in relatively quickly and complete them within a month in total. And that's why we have top line results sometime in end of Q1, beginning of Q2.
Yeah, so that's pretty soon.
That's pretty soon, and that's very important for me to underline, that this is not one of these 2.5 year long trials that you see very often in oncology, etc.
Okay, so yeah, and that obviously drills down to the next question, because another share price trigger is the financing of a biotech company just like you, and you are currently in an exercise period of your TO2 warrants, and maybe you can elaborate a little bit about how much money you're getting.
Yes, that's right. The subscription period for the warrants started yesterday and is running until August 25. There are almost 8.6 million warrants outstanding, and one warrant gives the right to subscribe for 1 share at 0.66 Swedish kronor. The process for subscription is actually pretty easy. That is to contact your bank where you have your warrants in the depot, and tell the bank that you would like to exercise the warrants into shares. And then the bank will do whatever is necessary to do that process. One thing is, though, that the warrant holders should be aware of the deadline, because maybe the subscription period is set to August 25, but the banks have different deadlines. So I would say to warrant holders that contact your bank quickly and tell that you would like to exercise if that is what you want, to make sure that you're not out of deadline.
And if it's fully subscribed, how much money are you getting in?
Fully subscribed, we will have around 5.7 million Swedish. Fully subscribed, yes.
And the pricing of the shares is 0.66, as you said.
Yes.
How did you arrive to that figure?
That was a weighted average over 10 days. Just end of July, beginning of August, that made that exercise price.
And the exercise price is
that, yes, and that was that. Sorry, and that is with a 30% rebate on the average price.
Yeah. So now you can So
you can buy
compared to the share price now, it's a good deal. It sounds like, because it's not that many shares that are issued, and the theoretical price will still be a lot higher than the current price.
That's right.
So talking about
and warrants can still be acquired on the market.
Yeah.
But again, ask your bank when the deadline is, because if you want them, then you need to do it within the limit. Yeah.
And so if we think that, or believe that you will get a little bit more than 5 million Swedish million, and you had 10 million in your bank account end of the quarter, so that is roughly 15 million Swedish. Is that enough for you, or for how long? Can you live of those money?
On top of the cash and the proceeds from the warrant exercise, then we are awaiting a reimbursement due to R&D costs. So that will add to our runway. But with the money we are getting or expecting to get, then we will have a runway until the end of phase 2A. So we'll have time to hopefully deliver very positive results and making a good base for attracting new funding to go further.
Super. So that's very important, because there's always a question about raising capital again, and will be at a discount and so forth, and also where can you get other proceeds from, and phase 2A, that's pretty close to where big pharma are raising the interest usually. How does that look? How do you expect that to look for you?
Well, I think obviously, if we know that they will want to de-risk any kind of deal making as much as possible. But I would expect that if they know a little bit about our product and the way it works, and if the results are positive, I'm pretty sure that there will be a starting interest sometime in Q2 next year, when we can supply full data sets and clinical study report, etc., etc. And that will raise the interest. Of course, we will also maybe see that some of them would like to see more data, human clinical patient data at some point in time. And that's why we are also working on getting our phase 2B up and running sometime in Q3 next year. And that is really where things getting tough, because everybody knows that, and we would like to keep our product as long as possible, because as far as we can get, the more value we add to the company. So that is really where it is. But I would be pretty sure that there would be some interest coming up if we come out with a very positive phase 2A result. That would be my best guess, my best estimate.
Yeah, and you say that in addition to that, that is is a product that has blockbuster potential?
It could have blockbuster potential, yes. It depends basically how far we can get into the other drug areas, meaning echinocandins, antiazoles, etc. But basically, we have looked at it many times, Niels and I, and we believe that we will be getting close to a blockbuster potential of $1 billion. That is, I don't think that's impossible. I think that's a pretty obvious result we would like to see.
And you could have fast track from FDA?
Yeah, we have already an orphan drug designation from FDA in the invasive aspergillosis. And we expect we can get more orphan designations, as well as we can get what we call the QIPD, which is really high medical need products within this area of anti-infectives and antifungals. And this is something we will start looking carefully at if we come out with phase 2A positive results, because they need human data to really evaluate that. But that is one of our goals for next year.
So yeah, to sum up, it seems that that the cost associated getting to a product, marketable product, is not that high, and it is pretty fast, which usually means that big pharma is pretty interested.
Yeah, and that's what we're counting on, because protein macrolide is a well-known fungicidal killer. We of course have to prove it, and we have to prove it also in controlled studies, and that's what we are aiming for at the end of the day. We are also looking very much into compassionate use or named patient testing, because that would make it possible to get an early, very limited approval. But that's one of the goals that we also have for the next couple of years. So that's our second, what should we say, goal.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Peder and Niels. I think that is all for today. We will be looking forward to the next announcements regarding the phase 2 studies and take it from there. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.